Hey Zach, happy birthday. I hope you're having a good time and you're having a good day. Part of your birthday, I made you a movie about what we were doing in the yard, starting with the front. And the house looks pretty much as it did before. I put down new mulch because the old mulch was wearing out. And I put in new rocks and some more rings where we have more cactuses than we used to because the cactuses were overgrowing each other. It's also yellow and white. I don't know if you can see. I'll move over this way. I've mostly got yellow and white flowers. I used to have red and white, but I thought the yellow and the white were more southwest and it looks better. Notice this plant here, the big banana leaf plant. For a while I didn't think it was going to live. In fact, I was going to cut it down 2-3 years ago because it was just getting frosted every year and it never made it above the house. And now it's got 4 leaves above the top of the house, which is critical because in the winter it doesn't get any. Only the area above the house gets sun. The area that's shaded doesn't get any sun at all, and for that reason it didn't grow at all, like the bougainvillea didn't grow. So it's done very well. And then you can see that some of the cactuses have grown even since you've been gone for 4 months. They've gotten pretty big. They're about 4.5, 5 feet tall, and the prickly pears are maybe 6.5 feet tall. So they've gotten pretty big. So we split out the agave here, and so in splitting it out, she left us with one, and she gave the other 2 in her project working with Eric's yard, and that looked pretty good. So as we walk around the side, I took this area here and I made it into a path. I used lava rock to make the path going through here. Still has the oleander flowers. And then going through the gates, we've got the continuing of the lava rock. And I built the grill area here. So the grill area kind of goes with the table. We eat outside almost every day. We have a big umbrella. And then there's a little chimney over there. You'll see that later. And then I have this area here for grilling. And then I've got the little stove pots over here for boiling stuff when it gets hot out. And I didn't show you this, but I built platforms for the garbage cans here. So that's pretty good, and it works out pretty well. I'm turning too fast. I'm sorry. I'm going to take a class. There's Zoe using the new garbage can platforms.
Hey, Rena.
So we have 5 fruit trees now. Yeah, 5 different fruit trees. Really 6 or 7 if you count the oranges and the loquats. And they give us fruit from March until November. So we have the loquat, the nectarine tree, which is really in full force right now. I really got an assist from, you can see all the nectarines on it. It's just loaded. But I got an assist from Yamagamis because it was really gotten a really rotten peach leaf curl, and I was going to kind of almost hack it off. And they said, no, just fertilize the hell out of it and water it, and make sure you take it with winter dormant next year. And it seemed to work out pretty well. And then over here, this is the persimmon plant that I planted last year, and it's cleared the fence, so it's on its way. I don't know if I'll get any persimmons out of it this year, but it's doing well. Now, if you notice along the fence line, I put in these little white things all along the area there. You can see them all the way down. That's for deep root watering. I did a bunch of deep root water pipes and I banged them in the ground, and now I have drippers going to them. So the thing gets deep root watered once a week for 4 hours, just drip, 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 way down to 2 feet deep. The guava tree is not doing well as usual. Next to the walnuts, the guava is his second favorite fruit, although the cucumbers seem to take on a nice spot there. I bought this cherry tree last year, and the cherry tree made some really nice cherries in its first year, and I'm really hopeful for it. And part of it convinced me to buy the $120 tree versus the $30 tree, and it seems to have been paying off. And our plum tree this year was a little bit of a disappointment because I didn't water it enough. And then you can see the orange tree has no problems. It's just huge, and it's big, and it's happy. And then the loquat tree is still loaded with dry loquats because even though now the crows have given up on it and the squirrels are there, they still didn't have time to clean it off yet. So they've done quite a bit with it. So moving now, I'm in the sand pit area. If I take the sand pit area, which is right by in front of the fruit trees, and take a few steps back, you can see where we took this area and we made it into a dining area. I can give it a little view from here. See how it's a dining area. Got the cactus in the front corner. I've got the umbrella. And it comfortably holds 6 in these days of COVID, where you can spread it out a bit and people be happy with it. You have the box with all the sprinkler heads. I added another sprinkler circuit for the trees. And then you have Zoe's flowers. You have I think it's an amaryllis, and then you have some zinnias in there. You have some primrose, and there's some other stuff as well as in here. She does a good job. And there's stuff in here that shouldn't be growing this time of year, but it's doing okay. You also notice there's a lot of we'll see a lot of walnuts in the yard. Nothing to do with spike, but this year was a dry year, and the walnut tree tends to overproduce seeds in dry years. So going back down toward the sheds, you see I built a path here, and I built a sand area here that has the hammock this time of year, and then in the fall I move it back and I'll put it back there, or I'll put it in the shed, and I'll move the greenhouse back here. We look at these areas. This is all stuff we grew from seed. This box has peppers and zinnias in it, and this box has tomatillos. This box is kind of worthless. It's got cucumbers, but the squirrels eat the cucumbers as soon as they emerge. I'm getting about 20-30 pounds a week at the garden. I've got not a single cucumber here because the squirrels are right on top of it as soon as they emerge. Down here, Zoe's got dahlias. Remember, you had those giant dahlias in San Mateo, Burlingame. She's got nice dahlias, not like yours, but they're still very pretty. And these lilies have never done anything. They're pretty awful. They're not doing anything. If you look over here, I've got corn that's easily 12 feet high. And it's been giving us good corn all year. In fact, to the extent that it shades the giant tomatoes. I'm not maybe going to get any giant tomatoes because the giant tomatoes are safe as they were last year as long as there's walnuts. But as soon as the walnuts end, the squirrels come and they start eating the giant tomatoes. They take one bite and they decide they don't really like it, but they'll ruin all the giant tomatoes, so I may not get any. I got probably 20 pounds of beans out of these bean plants, and they'll be back. They'll take a rest for a couple months, and then at the end of the season you can see they're already putting some leaves out, and there's 1 or 2 that are left over from the first batch, some long ones that I have to come back and pick today, but they're mostly done with the spring batch, and they'll be back in a month or 2. These are yellow over here and on the right, and these are the green ones on the left. You can see this is the bougainvillea that I had in the front house for 5 years, and it never did anything. I gave it a front-facing exposure, and you can see it's just really happy, to the extent that I probably won't get any grapes because it's drowned out the grapes completely. There's a little bit of grape that's escaped to the side, but I don't see any fruit on it. I might give up on grapes. It's too hard to grow grapes here. It needs too much water, and it's just not working for us. Now, these 2 plants in these tomato beds here on the side are Miriam's plants, and I told Miriam, nobody gets to touch these plants except for you. And she's been doing poorly lately because she has a hurt hand she was operated on, and I don't know that they did a good job on the operation. But the 2 plants that have red tomatoes on are Miriam's plants. This week she got 14 tomatoes off it. She was ecstatic. I asked her if she was going to give any to Champika, and she looked at me like I was nuts. So she's not. And and then I put new sand back here. This used to all be dirt. You can see this is all sanded now. It's not sand, it's granite. It's chipped granite, so it gets hard. It's almost like concrete. It's pretty good. Artichokes are coming back. I cut them way back. They had a medium good year. They got about 50 artichokes this year. So I extended the path back this way. This is where the wood pile and the mulch pile used to be. I moved the wood pile over about 30 feet, and I put a big wire mesh around the telephone pole, and now I have a big bean stalk on the telephone pole. And I think in about 2 weeks I'll have a slew of wax beans. You can see this got a whole bunch of flowers on it, and it's really done well. It's probably about 9 feet tall. It would go higher if I had a way to do it, and I'm hoping PG&E doesn't show up because they'll make me cut it down. But if they wait a month, I'll get about 20, 30, maybe 50 pounds of beans out of it over the course of the rest of the summer. It's very happy. It's got drip irrigation. I don't have to do anything with it. So this is Zoe's here. She put these in. Beautiful, beautiful. I don't know the names of these flowers. She cuts them and puts them in the house, but she's done a good job with them. I got the dripper in for them. She does a medium job of weeding this place, but what can you say? So in this flower bin, we've got marigolds that we grew from seed, and we got sunflowers we grew from seed, and in the middle, we got some stuff I bought at Home Depot that just kept the place a little alive until the other ones grew, but now they're drowned out by the sunflowers and the marigolds. And if you think the sunflowers and the marigolds, they won't be around the sunflowers for long because they're about to put flowers on, as you can see up here. Like this one here has a flower ready to, well, as soon as they put flowers on, the squirrels will chew them down. I may put a 1.5 inch pipe around it, slit it, and then tape it back together again so they can't chew it down. But I don't know. It's just like fighting against. This one has a thing on it so it can't be chewed down as it is, only because it was drooping over because the squirrel bit it when it was young. So I got that white pipe down there. So that one was already protected, and it did well. Once I put the pipe on it, it healed. It was going to die. So that was part of the no plant left behind thing. I bought these gray covers to match the whole gray decor of the yard. I painted the benches gray, so everything is gray. There's a bench back there that's gray. And then that dog in the back, Joyce and Pressure gave me, because she collects everything from estate sales, and she came over and she thought that dog would do better at my house than hers. Right now, the benches are kind of covered with loquat shit, and I cleaned it off 2 days ago, but squirrels are in full loquat eating mode ever since the crows stopped disciplining them for eating loquats. I wish Omi was as diligent as disciplining them, but he just doesn't seem to get it through his head that that's his job. So I've taken pictures of this area before. This is the new Zen garden, and I've got the Buddha over here, and the Buddha's got flowers around him, and he's got big bearded lily plants between the impatiens. It looks very nice. It's very peaceful, and when you rake it, it's very calm. And then I've got this area over here where you sit around the fire pit. We've used it a couple times, not that often, and it works really well. And then this area is just blank. I mean, I may put a couple stones in here just for whatever, but it's just blank, and it really doesn't do much. Then over here, I took the used to have like mud over here going to the back. I built a little path. You can't really see it too good with the light. And I cut back on the stones here. Now it's a smaller stone area. Maybe if I go here, the lens will change. Nah, it doesn't work too well. Okay, well, you can't really see it. But anyway, and I changed over. I've got different color impatiens in different parts of the yard. So these are one color purple. These are another color purple. Down here. See that? Well, this is the nursery. I have a sprayer that sprays seeds, and then the seeds all bloom. So right here I have Brussels sprouts, I got cilantro, and I got corn coming up, and some leeks. So this is the nursery. I'm going to take the Brussels sprouts and put them in bigger pots, because Brussels sprouts take 9 months to grow, and my goal is to get them to grow in March rather than just be hard and big in May. So I think I'll have them ready. I planted these about the 1st of July, and they're doing very well. They're now like nice size, and as long as it doesn't they don't get too big before when it's really hot in September. I think they'll be fine. I've got a new planter here. I used to have those brown boxes, but I bought this other one because it's 4 feet long and it looks nice. I put white impatiens in here. And then if you look under the lemon tree across the yard, I don't know if you can see it without me walking up on it. I've got red impatiens. So you got the red. So you got red. Yeah, you can see those pretty well now. Yeah, look how nice they look. So there's red impatiens under the lemon tree. Zoe cut the lemon tree way back to the point where we're almost running out of lemons, even though Miriam's not around very much to take them, but we still have them. And then as we walk toward the path, see there's the path that walks around the house. You got this little temple thing that Joyce and Pressure gave me. I've got a new mulch pile in the back here. I've got the bicycle shed that I moved from the side of the house to the back, and I'm going to knock it down and buy a shed that's a wooden one and move it all the way out to the edge here, and the doors will open and you can just hang the things, and then behind it I'm going to put 2 kayaks, which will come in handy. And then back here I moved your J to the tree. It looks great next to the tree. I bought a can of shellac, so I'm going to shellac it so it handles the weather well, but I haven't gotten to it yet. And then if we turn the corner of the house, I put all the rocks here. You can see this here, how it looks like now to cover the wall. It also makes for a nice presentation. When you look down the alley, you only see the rocks, you don't see the mulch pile. And then if you look down the alley, you've got the white, black and white half-inch rocks, and then you got the black on the other side, and I put green planters on this side, and you've got flowers that Zoe